Okay, let's unpack this. For millions of us, right? The day just doesn't really start until you've had that first cup.
Oh, absolutely. It's the most consumed beverage on the planet, right after water.
A latte, a cold brew, whatever it is. It's this vital routine we all seem to rely on for energy, for focus, and let's be honest, for sanity.
But if you look past the whole ritual of it, the smell, the flavor, you start to see what's really going on. You're drinking the result of a really powerful biological hack.
And that's what we're digging into. The sources you sent over, they trace the coffee plant's journey across the globe, but the real story here is molecular. It's about how this one plant created the world's most popular psychoactive agent.
Right. How did this happen? We want to know how the caffeine molecule evolved, why it works so perfectly on our brains, and what actually happens when we try to stop.
It's this amazing intersection of ancient plant biology and, well, modern human dependence.
And the first thing to get right away is that the coffee plant did not evolve caffeine for us. It's not a gift.
So it's a defensive mechanism. This super addictive compound that drives global markets is, what, a plant's version of bug spray?
That's a great way to put it, precisely. Caffeine is bitter. In high concentrations, it's actually toxic to insects that might try to eat the leaves or the fruit.
Oh, wow.
But, and this is interesting, in smaller doses, some research suggests it can almost manipulate pollinators. It gives them a little buzz that encourages them to come back to that specific flower again and again.
So it's a chemical strategy for its own survival.
A very successful one.
Right.
That totally reframes the whole conversation, doesn't it? We aren't just drinking something from a seed.
We're consuming this highly specialized molecule the plant made to make sure it reproduces.
And that strategy has made the coffee plant a global powerhouse. When we talk about production, we're really just talking about two species, Coffea arabica and Coffea canephora.
That's Robusta, right.
Exactly, Robusta. Those two make up more than 90% of everything that we drink.
And we all call them coffee beans, but the sources were quick to point out that's not botanically accurate, is it?
Not at all. They're seeds. They're housed inside this little red fruit that we call a cherry, which, by the way, isn't technically a cherry either.
Haha, right. And getting those seeds from the plant to our cup is all about timing.
Meticulous timing. The sources really stress this. To get that high-quality coffee, the fruit has to be picked at the perfect moment, too early or too late.
And you get defective, low-quality seeds.
Yep. After that, they have to be processed. The pulp of the fruit is removed, either by soaking it or sun-drying it, to get to that little green seed that gets shipped everywhere.
And then finally the roasting. That's what develops all the flavor.
Right, and we focus so much on the flavor, but if you look at the history, it was always the effect that drove this whole thing.
Okay, so let's touch on the origin story. The legend of Kaldi, the Ethiopian goat herder, back in what, 850 AD?
That's the one. He sees his goats, even the old ones, just acting bizarrely energetic after eating these little red berries.
Dancing goats.
Basically.
There.
So he brings them to some local monks who realize it's the perfect midday prayer pick-me-up.
And from there, it just exploded. From monastery to monastery, then cultivated across the entire tropical world. But, okay, let's get to the real deep dive. How does this plant chemical, designed for insects, become the perfect human wake-up call?
This is where we get into the chemistry, the molecular mimicry.
Right. Caffeine is the key. And it works because it's a really good copy of something else.
A near-perfect mimic. See, your brain is constantly checking its own activity levels. The main chemical signal for fatigue, for feeling tired, is a compound called adenosine.
The adenosine.
Adenosine. It builds up all day long. And as it builds up, it binds to these specific receptors in your brain. Think of it like a key fitting into a lock. When adenosine plugs into that lock, you feel sleepy. It's the time to rest switch.
So adenosine is like the brake pedal for the brain.
That's a perfect analogy. Now, caffeine enters the system. The caffeine molecule looks so much like adenosine structurally that it can fit into that same receptor. It can slide right into that same parking spot.
But it doesn't turn the key.
Exactly. It just sits there, blocking the spot. It's blocking the real adenosine from getting in and doing its job.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Because the genuine adenosine can't bind, that sleep signal is, well, it's silenced. Your nervous system is basically tricked into thinking it's not tired.
You go from feeling sluggish to feeling awake and focused just because this plant molecule hacked your brain's receptors.
But it doesn't stop there. It's not just about blocking fatigue. There's a reward system built in that makes us want more. The feel-good trap.
Ah, yes, dopamine.
Dopamine, the brain's main feel-good chemical. Caffeine doesn't just block adenosine, it also messes with dopamine.
Hmm.
It prevents it from being reabsorbed back into your system
So it keeps that rewarding, pleasurable chemical hanging around in the brain for longer.
for longer. And that is the very definition of reinforcement. Your brain makes a powerful connection. Coffee makes me feel good. Coffee makes me feel focused. I want more coffee.
Which explains the dependence and why quitting cold turkey is so brutal.
It's brutal. All that adenosine that was being blocked suddenly rushes back to the receptors. And you get hit with this crushing fatigue, headaches, even a depressed mood.
Since we're talking about a psychoactive substance, we should probably cover the safety limits. How much is too much?
The sources are pretty consistent. For a healthy adult, the daily limit is about 400 milligrams of caffeine.
Which is, what, about 4 cups of coffee?
Roughly, yeah, about 4 average cups. And it's important to respect that limit to avoid things like anxiety or the jitters.
And for people who love the taste but not the buzz, how do they get the caffeine out for decaf?
So they take the green, unroasted beans, they steam them, and then they rinse them over and over again with a chemical solvent.
To solve it.
Yeah, it flushes the caffeine away while trying to leave the flavor compounds behind. It gets most of it, but never, 100%.
Okay, so beyond the energy and the mood, the sources bring up a few other effects. Let's
Wow.
start with the laxative effect.
Yes, coffee is a natural laxative. The weird thing is, researchers still aren't exactly sure why. Some studies say it relaxes certain muscles, others say it causes contractions in the large intestine.
But that's not just the caffeine doing it.
It seems not. This is the really interesting part. People report the same urgent effect even with decaf coffee.
So some other compound in the coffee itself must be responsible.
That's the leading theory, yeah.
Okay, now for the big one. The myth about alcohol. The idea that you can sober someone up with a strong cup of coffee.
This one is so dangerous. And it just won't die. Let's be crystal clear. Coffee does absolutely nothing to get alcohol out of your system.
It has zero effect on how fast your liver processes it.
Zero. What's happening is all in your brain. The alertness boost from the caffeine makes you feel less drunk. It masks the intoxication.
And that's the danger.
It's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you feel more alert. You might think it's okay to have another drink, or worse, you might think you're okay to drive. But your coordination, your judgment, they're still just as impaired.
Coffee is not an antidote. It's a mask.
A very effective mask, and that's what makes it so risky.
So we started with the simple drink everyone loves, and we end up with a plant that literally hacks our brain chemistry by mimicking our own signaling molecules.
It's just amazing. The coffee plant evolved this perfect little key that just happens to fit a lock in the mammalian brain, and it created a global human dependence on its seeds.
And here's something to think about. The brain chemicals involved here, adenosine for fatigue, dopamine for reinforcement, they're the same chemicals that govern almost all of our daily habits and cravings. So what does that tell you about the fundamental biological drive behind our routines? Something to mull over the next time you reach for that cup.